Hey everybody, and welcome back to a glorious, beautiful Sunday after Michigan gets the victory at home versus Michigan State. Paul Bunyan comes home and he stays here in Ann Arbor in his rightful spot. It was a back and forth early. Took Michigan a while to get started offensively, but the defense, as always, shined. Michigan elected to, I don't know if they elected to, but they did kick off the opening drive. And on Michigan State's first drive, there was a nice reverse for 48 yards. And then an unsportsmanlike on Michigan State backed them up. And then a false start. And then an illegal shift. And then a delay of game. I've never seen anything like that. 4 calls right in a row against the same team on the same drive. Michigan State was forced to punt. On Michigan's first drive, Scooney had a couple of nice catches, and Cornelius Johnson had a nice catch up the sideline, fought for extra yardage, and he should have just went down because the ball was ripped out of his hands, and Michigan State recovers. Michigan State's second drive was a 4-and-out. They elected to go for it on their own 46-yard line, and they got it originally, but it went to review, and the referees actually moved the ball a half yard back, and it was a turnover on downs. I had never seen that before either. Moving the ball just that little bit forced them to they had a turnover on downs. Michigan's second drive there was a false start to start off the drive, and then Corum with some grinding runs, and then a nice play action down to the 3 for Donovan Edwards. And this is the theme of the game here. We could not get the ball into the end zone, even from the 3-yard line. Moody settled for his first field goal, and we made it. On Michigan State's third drive, there were some intermediate throws, nice throws, ending in a 20-yard touchdown catch for Keon Coleman. That made the score 7-3 Michigan State. On Michigan's third drive, Scooney had an 18-yard reception. Corum had a 17-yard run, and then Scooney again. It was a nice play this time in the red zone, an empty set. It was just JJ in the backfield. 5 wide. Corum comes in and he gets the little flick ahead pass for a 2-yard touchdown reception. Michigan takes the lead 10-7. Michigan State's fourth drive. It was 4th down at Michigan's goal line, and Michigan stuffs it. Turnover on downs. On Michigan's fourth drive, Corum and the offensive line, the run game was starting to assert itself at this point. J.J. McCarthy had a 21-yard run and another nice run. And then dumb play calling leads to yet another field goal. They saw J.J. run it a couple of times, and then they called the J.J. run, which was, I think it has to be organic. You can't just have these quarterback draws, especially after he just ran for nice chunks of yardage. The defense is going to expect that. They settle for another field goal, and now it is 13-7 Michigan. And then Michigan State's fifth drive was a 3-and-out, but then there was an offsides on the punt, which gave Michigan State a first down, and then a Mike Morris sack, which was huge, and the clock runs out. It was the end of the half. On Michigan's fifth drive, they got the ball to open, marched it all the way down the field, and stalled in the red zone yet again. A field goal. Now it is 16-7. Michigan State's sixth drive was a 3-and-out. Michigan's sixth drive, they're leaning on Michigan State now. The ground attack is working. They get into the red zone for the fourth time, and another field goal. 19-7. And then Michigan State's seventh drive was another 3-and-out. Michigan's seventh drive, a JJ run for a first down. The drive stalls. McCarthy is just out of rhythm at this point because he doesn't have the in-game experience of throwing a whole lot of passes. We're just grinding people down. And Jake Moody makes his 5th field goal on Michigan State's 8th drive. It was a 3-and-out, and then they were punting, but it was a high snap over the punter's head, a failed punt. It was pretty much a sack on the punter, way back at Michigan State's 8-yard line, and they punch it in for a touchdown. Corum does, which makes it 29-7. On Michigan State's 9th drive, they had 1 first down in the second half. 1. It was their first one here on this drive, with 12:30 left in the 4th quarter. McGregor had a sack, and Michigan State was forced to punt the ball. Michigan's 9th drive was a punt. First punt in the last 2 games. They didn't punt at all versus Penn State, and this was the first punt they had all day in this game. Michigan State's 10th drive, Coleman had a 50-yarder wide open, but then a couple plays after that, Rod Moore came up with a big interception late in the game. And on Michigan's 10th drive, stupid time for trick plays. We already won the game. What are you doing? It's kind of a lateral running back or wide receiver pass. Can't remember who, but it got blown up. And then a false start. Then we had a deep throw, and there was a pass interference on Michigan State, which was questionable. You wonder if maybe the refs wanted Michigan to cover the spread. People in Vegas wanted that. I don't know. It was just weird. So Michigan wins the game in the backyard brawl, 29-7. It's not the blowout that I thought and expected it to be, 40-plus points by the offense. They could have. They moved the ball between the 50s. They got to practice this red zone attack. It's like they don't even trust JJ to throw it into the red zone when he's in the end zone, when he's in the red zone. We got to work on that. Corum ended up with 33 carries for 177 yards and a touchdown and 1 receiving touchdown. McCarthy was kind of pretty efficient, 15 of 25 for 167 passing yards and 1 touchdown, and he had 7 rushes for 50 yards on the ground. Donovan Edwards had 10 carries for 42 yards. Schoonmaker was our leading receiver in this game with 5 receptions and 70 yards. Now, total yards, Michigan owned it, 443 to Michigan State's 252. And rushing yards determines this game for like the last 20 years or whatever. Whoever rushes for the most wins the game, and Michigan won that category, 276 to Michigan State's 37 yards rushing. Dominant performance by the defense yet again. 8-0 now. Who do we have next? I think Nebraska. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Nebraska. But I will be doing a preview for that game coming up next week. Elsewhere around the country, you had TCU winning. You had Oklahoma State getting walloped by Kansas State. Notre Dame beat Syracuse. Is that an upset? I don't know. Cincinnati lost to Central Florida. Was that an upset? I don't know. Ohio State handles business at Penn State. Are they still going to be number 2? My resume ranking will be coming out here shortly, and then my power ranking will be right after that, hopefully today. Georgia handled business. Oregon handled business. Wake Forest got blown out by Louisville. Illinois has their winning streak continues, 7-1 now. Missouri went on the road and beat South Carolina. USC wins, but the defense is looking suspect as always. Tennessee, big win versus Kentucky. Will they be in the top 3 now? We'll see. Ole Miss wins on the road at Texas A&M, and North Carolina beats Pitt at home. And UCLA blows out Stanford. So there you have it. A great week of college football. Not too many upsets. But 2 top 10 teams getting blown way out. They will be outside of my power ranking. That is for sure. So there you guys have it. Good performance by Michigan. A lot of things to work on and get better at, particularly the red zone offense. Thank you all. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe, and have a great day. Go Blue, everybody. Thanks.